right, guys, and action. Story.
I'm Franco.
And I'm storyteller.
I'm Pie.
I'm Drink.
And I'm Francois.
Okay, Francois.
I'm a
And
dragon.
we've got an all-dragon cast tonight except the storyteller. And our story tonight is entitled Two Kings and Two Kingdoms. So it sounds
Kings
like
of
it's...
what?
We'll find out. And it sounds like it's going to be an interesting story.
All right.
So one day a youth named Jerabowem was leaving Jerusalem, and a prophet came up to him and grabbed hold of the new coat he was wearing and tore
What
it.
color was the coat?
I don't know. But
was
he
it,
tore it. But
was it rainbow like Joseph's?
no, this wasn't Joseph. This was Jerabowem. It was after the time of Joseph. And this prophet grabbed hold of the new coat he was wearing and tore it into 12 pieces.
What the?
So we
Why?
didn't. Well, we're going to find out. Then the prophet gave Jerabowem 10 of the pieces. The prophet explained to Jerabowem why he had done this. It was because the Lord was going to let him be king over 10 of the tribes of Israel. Now remember, there were 12 tribes of Israel. So when King Solomon heard about this, he tried to kill Jerabowem. But Jerabowem ran away into the land of Egypt where Solomon couldn't hurt him. Now Solomon was the king of Israel for 40 years, and he died and was buried in Jerusalem. Then Jeroboam's friend sent a message to him in Egypt telling him to come back home, and he did. Then he and all the people went to Solomon's son, whose name was Rehoboam, to make him their king. First, however, they talked, and he became harsh, cruel even, a cruel way his father had ruled them. They wanted to know if Rehoboam planned to treat them better than his father did.
So he was Jeroboam.
What?
Then he was Rehoboam.
No, Rehoboam was a different person. Rehoboam was the actual son.
So first he was a Jeroboam, then they Rehoboamed him.
No, it didn't happen quite that way. Rehoboam was the son of Solomon. Jeroboam was just a man that God intended to make king.
He wasn't a bull.
We'll find out. Hopefully.
What color of bull was he? Was he purple?
No, not like you. He wasn't purple.
Was he pink?
Green.
We don't know. So Rehoboam
Green,
told
pink,
them.
polka dots.
Now Rehoboam told them to come back in 3 days, and he would give them an answer. And after they had gone, Rehoboam went to the old men who had been friends with his father and asked their advice. They told him to speak gently to the people and to promise.
How gently?
Very gently.
Very,
and to
like
treat them. No, not as far as volume of voice, but more. He was advised to speak to the people with kindness and love. They said that if he did this, the people would gladly choose him as their king for as long as he lived. But Rehoboam was not satisfied with this good advice from the old men. So he asked the young men who had grown up with him what they thought, and the young men told them to speak roughly to the people and tell them that if they thought his father had been cruel to them, they hadn't seen anything yet, for he would be even more cruel. His father had been a little harsh, but he would be very harsh. Now, is that the way to rule people?
No.
Is that the way to be friends with people?
No.
No.
Absolutely not. Now, when the people came back for his answer in 3 days, Rehoboam spoke roughly to them, as the young men had advised. He shouted, "If you think my father was cruel, wait, you ain't seen nothing yet. I'm going to be even more cruel and more harsh. You'll think it was nothing by the time I'm finished with you." Now, most of the people went away in great anger and said he couldn't be their king. They wanted Jeroboam instead. So, do you think maybe God saw that Jeroboam was a much kinder individual than Rehoboam and knew that the 10 tribes would be better treated?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Sounds like it, don't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the tribes of Judah and Benjamin stayed and made Rehoboam their king. So Rehoboam was king of 2 tribes, and Jeroboam was going to be king of 10 tribes. The other tribes chose Jeroboam, so Jeroboam was king over 10 tribes, as the prophet had said, and Rehoboam was king of only over 2. Now Rehoboam saw that the 10 tribes had left him. He sent a messenger to them, asking them to come back, but they threw stones at the messenger and killed him. Then Rehoboam hastily called together all the soldiers of Judah and Benjamin, which was about 180,000 men, and formed them into an army to go out and fight against the 10 tribes. But God sent a prophet to tell them that his people must not fight against their brothers in the other 10 tribes, but to go back home. So now there were 2 kings ruling over the people of Israel. Until this time, only one ruled over them all. First Saul, then David, then Solomon. But now Solomon's son Rehoboam was king over the tribes of Judah and Benjamin, and Jeroboam was king over the other 10 tribes. Rehoboam's kingdom was called the kingdom of Judah, and Jeroboam's the king of Israel.
Did they sing any songs of Solomon?
Not at this point. Now, guys, this is the end of our story, so we'll continue.
No.
We'll
Read more.
Hey,
Read more.
we're going to continue.
Read more.
We'll continue
more.
this in our next chapter, okay? This is about as long as this particular skit needs to be. It's almost 8 minutes.
All right.
All right, y'all say bye.
No. Let's roar.
Bye, guys. And cut.